Omar.
All right, joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan of Virginia to talk about this and more. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So we've been talking about the latest CNN polling. 55% of those polled say the president has gone too far when it comes to deporting migrants living in the United States illegally, which is up 10 points since February. But I should also mention, when you break it down between Democrat and Republican, they couldn't be further apart. 90% of Democratic-aligned adults polled say it's gone too far, while just 15% of Republican-aligned adults say the same. So I guess the question is, do those results surprise you? And how do you anticipate the issue of deportation, immigration, playing into the midterms next year?
They don't surprise me, because what I have seen in my own district, in Virginia in particular, early on is a dissatisfaction with the way, and frankly outrage with the way the Trump administration is doing these mass deportations. In my own district in Chesterfield County, ICE is showing up at the courthouse, detaining people who are showing up for traffic infractions or who have traffic infractions and are showing up for immigration cases. And it's really affecting public safety. We are seeing our prosecutors, our police chief, our sheriff are all saying this is making people less safe because fewer people are reporting crimes, fewer people are willing to testify or press charges, even citizens who are immigrants, because they are afraid of what may happen if they show up at the courthouse.
So you've noticed a change, I guess, in daily life in your district?
I have. I mean, we have a lot of people, a lot of immigrants in a vibrant immigrant community, including citizens, who are afraid to show up in public spaces, in the courthouse. It is making our communities less safe. We have parents who are afraid to send their kids to school, who are afraid to show up in hospitals, who are afraid to go to church, because they just don't know what's going to happen.
And, you know, obviously the big test for this comes when voters have the chance to go to the ballot box in the midterms next year. And I want to get your take, because looking ahead to that, some of the CNN polling we've done showed 72% of Democrats and Democratic-aligned registered voters say they're extremely motivated to vote in next year's election, which is much higher than Republicans. But at the same time, just 58% of Democrats and Democratic-aligned voters had a favorable view of the party. And so how do you bridge the gap between the enthusiasm but with also favorability of people they actually want to put in office?
You know, I think the Democratic Party, we have a lot of work to do, make sure we are meeting voters where they are, listening to what they have to say, and talking to them about the issues that they want us to take action on. And we know that there are a lot of people who think we need to fight harder against the Trump administration. And I think the challenge for us is making sure we are communicating what we are doing in every way that people receive information. But what's going to matter is what we're doing on the ground in these districts. And when we show up in these districts, meet voters where they are, talking about our vision for the future and what we're going to do to stop the excesses of the Trump administration, you know, we're going to win. We've seen that in a special election since the Trump administration. And in Virginia, we've got an election right now. Yep. It's going to be a canary in the coal mine, and we are doing everything we need to do to turn that enthusiasm out, get those voters out to vote in the November election.
And, you know, one of the strategies in that election, sort of fighting fire with fire, it seems like redistricting is going to be an issue here. We've already seen Texas Governor Greg Abbott announcing he would move forward with asking the state legislature to redraw Texas's maps after a push from the White House. It seems we may see a similar effort from California Governor Gavin Newsom, even though the dynamics in that state are a little bit different than Texas. But I guess my question is, do you support that type of effort in regards to strategy for the midterm election?
You know, I think generally voters choose their elected officials and not the other way around. And I have always been a proponent of redistricting that keeps communities together and produces fair, competitive results.
But not partisan redistricting, as you introduced an act before, sort of going against partisan redistricting.
In an ideal world, that's exactly right. I think Republicans need to understand, if they go down this path, that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And, you know, they can't expect Democrats to sit back and let them change the rules of the game and not respond. But ideally, everybody should keep redistricting once every 10 years to create fair maps that allow voters to elect their representatives rather than representatives to choose their constituents.
So just to be clear, you support sort of fighting back against Republican redistricting.
I think we
even
need
if
to.
it's
I think we
with
would,
your own redistricting.
We need to look at all options on the table, including lawsuits, and including in some states where we can move forward doing so. If Republicans go down this path, look at responding in kind.
Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan, Virginia, really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.